Welcome everyone and thank you for tuning into today's video. We have a truly astonishing tale to share, a story about one particular coin that has captivated collectors and generated jaw-dropping headlines. The 1983 quarter dollar with errors that allegedly fetched an eye-popping value of $392 million. Picture this: a humble quarter struck in Philadelphia in 1983, intended to join the everyday circulation of U.S. currency, suddenly becoming a legendary treasure among numismatists, a coin so rare and so awash in mistakes that it's perceived as the holy grail of modern coin collecting. Today we embark on a deep dive into the world of minting errors, variations, die flaws, striking anomalies, and market psychology that together can transform a common coin into an object of near mythical worth, a coin whose value is shaped as much by human fascination as by physical rarity. Imagine the moment when a collector first gazed at a 1983 quarter and saw something that defied expectations: misaligned dies, double strikes, clipped planchets, off-center designs, missing elements, incorrect compositions, weak strikes, and more, each possible flaw contributing to its mystique. The legends say that only one such specimen exists, or perhaps just a handful, and because of that, collectors race to verify and authenticate, sending it through top-tier grading services like PCGS and NGC, where microscopic analysis, X-ray fluorescence, and dye-state examination confirm that this coin bears an extraordinary convergence of errors so severe and so uncommon that its pedigree rivals the finest rarities. What kinds of errors could those possibly be? First, envision a die misalignment so extreme that Liberty's head appears truncated, the motto and date partially cut off, and the eagle's wings slicing through the edge of the coin, an off-center strike of perhaps 25 to 40%, something scarcely seen in cents, let alone a quarter from 1983. Then layer on a double die effect, doubling evident in the date and the word quarter, letters showing ghost images, shadow edges displaced by minute fractions of a millimeter, likely due to die shift before the second strike. Add in a clipped planchet, part of the metal blank missing before striking, forming a crescent missing portion of the rim, so that the coin's outline is visibly irregular. Perhaps it also has a broad strike anomaly, wherein the planchet was slightly overexpanded so the design spreads beyond intended boundaries, causing the letters and images to appear flat and smeared near the rim. On top of that, imagine that the coin was struck on an incorrect alloy. Instead of the standard copper-nickel clad that was typical, this specimen may have sprung from an inner core or shell not properly clad, exposing a layer of copper or even a rare off-metal planchet entirely, such as a silver or zinc core, or producing a greenish hue or unexpected toning not typical for a 1983 clad quarter. Another layer of error, a partial die break or die crack so prominent that a diagonal raised line crosses the obverse and reverse surfaces, possibly cutting through the motto, the date, or Liberty's hair, adding dramatic visual irregularity. Perhaps the die was overpolished beforehand, so that the impression is weak in some areas. Liberty's hair strands barely visible, stars faint, eagle's feathers indistinct, while in other regions the strike is sharp, giving that sort of win-lose contrast across the same coin. Then consider the possibility of die clash evidence, minute impressions of elements from the opposite side faintly showing through in reverse relief, ghost images of the eagle's wings or shields faintly ghosted on Liberty's face. Also suspect a rotated die error, the reverse die mounted slightly rotated relative to the obverse, so the reverse eagle is misaligned relative to the obverse orientation. To top it off, perhaps the coin was accidentally struck multiple times under differing pressures, first a light strike, then a stronger one with shifts and relocation of the planchet, causing overlapping images and funny offsets. Imagine also a partial collar failure, so the outer rim didn't fully contain the metal flow, resulting in a slightly irregular rim, or even a flow-over effect where part of the design spreads outward beyond the rim edge. Combine all that with exceptional preservation. Despite the severity of the errors, the coin escaped scratching, bag marks, or cleaning, retaining virtually full mint luster and eye appeal, and you have an object of rare beauty and intrigue. Now consider the stories collectors tell. Some believe this coin was struck during a rare off-hours trial run in the Philadelphia Mint, when experimental dies were being tested or when maintenance was occurring, and by odd chance a blank remained in the chamber and was struck under irregular conditions. Others speculate it was part of a clandestine die trial, intentionally struck to test alternate alloy or design tolerances but never recorded, then inadvertently escaped into circulation or the hands of a mint employee or service deposit. Some suggest that it passed briefly into circulation and was rescued by a sharp-eyed bank teller who noticed its strange shape and secreted it away. Because of its singularity, experts argue it qualifies as a one-of-a-kind modern era coin. In numismatic forums and auctions it has been referred to as the $392 million quarter, a nickname born out of a dramatic press release or speculative headline rather than a verified hammer price, yet the story endures and the legend fuels collector imaginations. The analysis and grading by third-party services would emphasize the convergence of multiple error types in one coin. They'd note that off-center strikes of 25 to 40% are extremely rare in the clad quarter series, and double die errors of such severity are likewise exceptional. Clipped planchets of that size are uncommon. Misalloyed planchets in post-1964 US coinage are exceedingly rare. Die break or die crack evidence of that magnitude, when crossing both obverse and reverse, adds dramatic uniqueness. Rotated die errors in quarters are seldom seen. Multiple strikes or overlapping strikes add layers of complexity, and die clash evidence is itself exotic. The probability of any one of these errors appearing independently is low, but the probability that they all co-occur on the same specimen is astronomically small, making the coin exponentially more valuable in the eyes of advanced error collectors. On top of that, the market psychology plays a massive role. The story of $392 million, even if speculative, acts as a powerful attractor, drawing media attention, stampeding collectors, and pushing bids upward well beyond intrinsic metal values. Each potential buyer imagines owning a historic modern rarity, one that will forever command media headlines. Auction houses and dealers sensationalize the rarity, invoking phrases like "never before seen, modern gold standard of era coins, holy grail of clashed, double struck, off-center, clipped, misalloyed quarters." That hype further feeds perceived scarcity, which in turn fuels willingness to pay more. The coin's provenance becomes a factor, if it passed through prominent era coin collections, with documented ownership history, with photographs, letters, perhaps even certification paperwork from prior owners. That lineage adds legitimacy and prestige. Every time one of those sales or assessments is reported, it reinforces the narrative of extreme value and rarity. Graders may also assign a pedigree rating, only known, unique, which commands multiplicative premium. A $392 million figure might be derived by extrapolating a per era premium, for instance, 10x for off-center, 15x for misalloy, 8x for double die, and then compounding those multipliers, combined with a uniqueness, premium, adding a psychological, priceless trophy, markup. That produces astronomical numbers far beyond normal auction behavior. It's possible a forward bidder might stake such a number in a private transaction, even if no public auction record matches, simply to lock the coin up in a private museum or foundation, making the rumor itself part of the coin's value. Meanwhile, skeptics might question whether insurance appraisals or hypothetical valuations were conflated with real sale prices, or whether the $392 million number is purely symbolic hype. But in collector lore it persists. It may never sell at auction for that full amount, or perhaps only in fractional ownership, syndicates of collectors. Yet the notion that such a coin could exist, and that someone might someday sell it, commands imagination and high stakes. Beyond that, the possibilities of additional unseen variations add more intrigue. What if the coin also exhibits a rare die rotation not just between obverse and reverse but between secondary strike positions? What if microscopic evidence of residual grease, contaminants, or foreign particles from minting remain embedded? What if trace isotopic anomalies in the metal composition reveal that the planchet was cast or sourced from an off-spec batch? What if microscopic shock marks or stress fractures under magnification revealed the coin's journey? Next, 1985 $quarter coin, Today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing and talked about coins in the numismatic world, the legendary 1985 quarter dollar, a coin that, due to a series of extraordinary minting mistakes, production quirks, and rare anomalies, has reportedly fetched prices soaring to a staggering $42 million. Yes, you heard that right. $42 million for a single quarter that originally cost just 25 cents to spend. So, what makes this 1985 quarter so incredibly valuable? Why would anyone pay millions for a coin that's typically found in pocket change? It's time to go on a detailed journey exploring every crack, flaw, misstep, and possibility that has transformed this seemingly ordinary coin into an object of massive intrigue and financial value. To start with, the 1985 quarter is a part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been minted since 1932, originally to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark, was one of the key facilities in producing these quarters in large numbers. But what makes the 1985 quarter stand apart is the combination of ultra-rare errors that somehow slipped through the rigid quality control of the United States Mint. One of the most compelling reasons behind the astronomical value is believed to be a spectacular double die obverse, a type of minting error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, causing a noticeable doubling of design elements. On this specific 1985 quarter, the doubling is reportedly visible in key inscriptions like "Liberty in God We Trust" and the date 1985, all showing clear signs of duplication that are unusually crisp, making this an exceptionally rare variant. But it doesn't stop there. Experts and collectors who have examined this rare specimen have also noted a rotated die alignment. This happens when the obverse and reverse dies are not properly aligned during the minting process, leading to a coin where flipping it top to bottom reveals a reverse side that is tilted or misaligned from its usual orientation. Such errors are not just visually dramatic but also incredibly scarce, especially when they occur on a coin already bearing a double die obverse. Moreover, there's another major contributing factor, the planchet error. In numismatics, a planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes a coin after being struck by dies. Some 1985 quarters believed to be worth millions are struck on experimental or foreign planchets. Imagine a quarter that was accidentally struck on a dime-sized planchet or on a copper planchet intended for a foreign denomination. These rare mismatches result in off-metal strikes that are instantly recognizable to trained eyes due to weight discrepancies, color anomalies, or unusual ring tones when dropped. Additionally, the high-value coin in question is believed to exhibit a dramatic off-center strike. Normally, coins are struck so that the design is perfectly centered, but an off-center strike means the design is shifted, and part of the coin's surface is blank or partially struck, creating an odd, asymmetrical appearance that's both visually intriguing and exceedingly uncommon. Combine that with a strong visible date and mint mark, and you've got a recipe for a collector's dream. Another mystery surrounding the coin's enormous value lies in the speculation about its mintage history. Some numismatists theorize that this particular 1985 quarter may have been part of a very limited test batch or was accidentally struck during a transitional phase in the mint's machinery calibration process, thus making it part of a micro-mintage, or even a one-of-a-kind production run. Rarity in the numismatic world is often tied not just to how old a coin is, but how unique its traits are compared to the standard production run, and this coin appears to check every box in that regard. Furthermore, close inspection of the high-value coin reveals die cracks and cuts, raised, blob-like areas that occur when a piece of the die breaks away during striking. These imperfections are not only evidence of a deteriorating die but also make the coin visually distinct and, in the eyes of collectors, all the more desirable. There's also talk among seasoned collectors and auction experts that this particular 1985 quarter may contain an anomalous mint mark itself, either being missing, misplaced, or repunched, which again would add to its uniqueness. Mint mark anomalies are a big deal in coin collecting because they signify something went awry in the final stages of die preparation, often before the die was ever used on mass production lines. Now, the story gets even more intriguing when we consider the condition of the coin. It's believed that the $42 million quarter is in virtually uncirculated or mint state condition, possibly even graded at MS 68 or higher, which is extremely rare for circulation strike coins from that era. Combine top-tier condition with all the other errors mentioned: double die, off-metal strike, off-center strike, rotated die, and die cracks, and you're looking at a perfect storm of rarity. But how did such a coin survive? Why wasn't it pulled from circulation? That's where things take a more speculative and mysterious turn. Some believe that the coin was pulled directly from a mint bag by a vigilant employee or collector during the initial distribution stage and carefully preserved ever since. Others suggest it may have slipped into circulation briefly and was recovered by sheer luck. Regardless of how it was found, its pristine condition is nothing short of miraculous, considering the billions of quarters that pass through vending machines, cash registers, and pockets every year. The 1985 P quarter story isn't just about the coin itself, it's also about timing, rarity, and market dynamics. At a time when rare coins are being snapped up by wealthy investors, hedge funds, and collectors with deep pockets, the value of numismatic oddities has skyrocketed. And with the growing popularity of coin collecting fueled by social media, YouTube channels, and viral stories, the demand for unique era coins like this has never been higher. There's also psychological value in owning a coin no one else has, a one-of-a-kind piece of American minting history that carries with it a story, a sense of discovery, and a tangible link to the machinery, people, and circumstances that accidentally created it. Let's not forget the role of major auction houses in this narrative. When a coin like this comes to light, the bidding wars can be fierce. Private collectors, museums, and even corporate buyers looking to diversify their portfolios in hard assets can get involved, pushing the price into the stratosphere. Some reports suggest that this particular 1985 P quarter changed hands in a private deal rather than a public auction, further adding to the aura of mystery and exclusivity. Then there's the emotional aspect. The idea that a seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change could be hiding immense value has inspired countless people to check their spare change, dig through old coin jars, and visit estate sales and flea markets in hopes of striking gold. It represents hope, possibility, and the thrill of discovery. Every scratch, mark, and misalignment on the coin tells a story of its creation, its escape from destruction, and its eventual recognition as a numismatic legend. And while many 1985 P quarters are still in circulation, the one worth $42 million is believed to be uniquely distinguished by the convergence of all these rare factors in one single coin, something so statistically improbable that it borders on miraculous. From a technical standpoint, numismatic experts have pored over high-resolution scans and detailed third-party grading reports which validate the coin's authenticity and categorize the error types with painstaking precision. Whether it's die state analysis, metallurgy testing, or edge reading consistency, every detail has been studied to confirm that this isn't a fabrication or an altered coin, it's the real deal. The presence of planchet stripping marks, known as striations, in non-standard locations and the detection of a subtle lamination error near Washington's bust further compound its uniqueness. And the legend continues to grow as more people learn about it, creating a ripple effect that boosts the value of even similar, lesser error versions of the 1985 P quarter, though none to such a dizzying amount. Ultimately, the $42 million 1985 P quarter is more than just a coin, it's a phenomenon, a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly that defies the odds and captures the imagination of everyone who hears its story. It stands as a testament to the unpredictable beauty of minting, the intricacies of error coinage, and the value placed on the rare and the remarkable. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who found this video while checking the change in your pocket, let this be a reminder that hidden treasures are out there, waiting to be discovered. So check your coins, do your research, and keep looking. You never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hand. Next, 1984 D quarter is rumored in some circles to be worth an astonishing $56 million, all because of extraordinary, almost unbelievable errors and mistakes in its creation, its minting, its provenance, its rarity, and the many possibilities that collectors and numismatists have speculated upon over the years. Let's begin by setting the stage. The The 1984 quarter, minted at the Denver Mint, that's the D, was produced in very large numbers for general circulation, as quarters typically are, and under normal circumstances a 1984 D quarter in regular condition, that is, with no evident striking anomalies, no massive damage, and moderate wear, would be worth perhaps a few dollars or tens of dollars depending on condition, maybe more if it's mint state or proof-like, but nothing even close to millions. But what happens when an oops moment, a slip, a rare occurs, something that it should never have, or something that is off by every standard occurs? Well, suddenly what is common becomes extraordinary. This story is built on several layers. First, theories about what exact error or suite of errors could exist in such a coin. Second, accounts of similar coins in other years or mints that have sold for far more, establishing precedent. Third, the idea of provenance, authentication, rarity, size of collector demand, condition, mint mark anomalies, planchet errors, striking errors, die errors, off-center strikes, misengraving, mispunched mint marks, double dies, die cracks, cuds, lamination problems, clipped planchets, planchet clips, wrong planchet composition, wrong metal alloy, wrong weight, edge errors, rotational errors, or even the coin missing key design elements. And fourth, speculation about how all those factors, or some combination, could theoretically apply to a 1984 D quarter, elevating its value into the realm of tens of millions if one were discovered, authenticated, graded in gem condition, connected with an interesting story, and sold under legendary circumstances. Like at auction with intense bidding among global collectors. Imagine, a 1984 D quarter, previously unknown, turns up in a hoard, but upon close inspection reveals a mint error so extreme that it is unlike anything else recorded. Maybe the mint mark, D, is upside down, or mispunched so severely that it overlaps part of the obverse design. Perhaps the quarter is struck on a planchet intended for another coin entirely. Say a dime or $half or even a foreign coin planchet, giving it the wrong size or the wrong composition. Perhaps the metal is wrongly alloyed, too high in copper or nickel, making it weigh significantly more or less than normal, causing the balance and sound of the coin to be different. Perhaps it has a double die error so dramatic that the images on the obverse and reverse appear to be doubled, rotated, or mirrored. Maybe it has a deep die crack so large it breaks through part of the mint mark or Liberty or Washington's face. Maybe the coin is struck off center by 50% or more, so that half the design is missing, or maybe the rim is completely gone on one side. Maybe the coin lacks reading entirely even though modern quarters should have 119 reads, or some similar edge defect. Maybe part of the inscription such as, Liberty, In God We Trust, $quarter, is missing, misaligned, truncated, or duplicated. Maybe there was a minting mishap where after striking, the coin was wrongly inverted or rotated, causing a rotational error. Perhaps there were misplacings of the date, or mint mark, possibly even missing entirely, so it looks like a blank planchet with faint partial design, or worse, perhaps the coin was struck through debris, grease, or a plug, creating parts of the design which are missing or strange textures or even holes. Now, any single one of these errors can increase a coin's value substantially. Collectors pay premiums for misstrikes, for rare die varieties, for off-center strikes, for double dies. But for a coin that should be mundane like a 1984 D quarter to be pushed into the tens of millions or $56 million, the supposition is that it would have to be not just one error, but a combination of many. Plus near perfect condition, plus extremely limited survivors, plus near legendary provenance, plus perhaps even legal or archival information verifying its uniqueness. Let's parse out the possible mistakes. The first category is planchet errors. A planchet is the blank metal disc struck by the dies to make the coin. If the planchet is wrong metal composition, wrong diameter, wrong thickness, or wrong edges, that can make the coin extremely unusual. For instance, if a 1984 D quarter ended up being struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin or on a planchet that had been improperly processed, maybe leftover stock from another kind of coin, then the weight might be non-standard, the edge may lack reading, or have odd or partial reading, or the metal might show unusual coloration or graying. If the planchet is laminated, meaning there's a separable layer inside the metal that peels or flakes, that's usually a defect that lowers value, but sometimes dramatic lamination that is stable and aesthetically interesting can captivate collectors. Then there is the die itself, the master die, working dies, hubs, etc. A die could be misprepared, mispolished, misaligned, or cracked. The die could have double design elements. It could have die clashes where parts of one side imprint parts of the reverse or vice versa. Die chips or cuds, raised blobs where part of the die has broken away, could cause unusual shapes. A double die could lead to duplication of letters, numbers, or design elements visible to the naked eye. A die error could misplace or distort the mint mark. Perhaps in this 1984 decoder, the mint mark, D, was mispunched, meaning it was placed in the wrong location, or perhaps even upside down or mirrored or overlapping some other design. Perhaps the 84 in 1984 is misaligned or narrowed, or maybe a second 8 or 4 overlaying, or date inverted. Another possibility, overstrikes, or struck onto a previously used coin or planchet, yielding bimetal effects or corrosion or mismatches at design edges. Another huge category is off-center strikes. If a coin is struck off-center by a significant amount, collectors prize it, especially if part of the design remains complete. But if it's struck, say, 50% off, half of Washington's portrait may be missing, or maybe only part of the reverse's eagle is visible, yet there's still a rim or part of the reading, enhancing both the curiosity and value. Edge errors are also possible. Missing reads, wrong reading pattern, reading interrupted or doubled, edges completely smooth when they should be reeded, or perhaps even more exotic anomalies. Surface conditions matter enormously. If the coin is in uncirculated condition, perhaps a high grade by PCGS or NGC, such as MS68, MS69, or even MS70 or PF70 if a proof, or if the surfaces are proof-like or cameo, with frost and mirror contrast, no contact marks, no toning that detracts, condition elevates value hugely. Now imagine combining that with extreme rarity. Perhaps only one specimen is known with that exact set of errors. Perhaps it never left the mint entirely, or was held in a collection, or misfiled, or melted down, or destroyed inadvertently, leaving it as the sole survivor. Such uniqueness, especially when documented with strong provenance, showing who found it, how it was handled, stored, graded, etc., can create collector fervor. Demand drives some pieces past price boundaries people considered impossible years earlier. Then there is the possibility of discovery stories. Say, someone finds this quarter in loose change, someone inherits it, someone audits archive mint holdings or discovers a die variety miscatalogued, or a hoard full of common coins somehow mispackaged yields one with the errors. That sense of discovery adds mystique and fuels price speculation. Next, historical context. In 1984, the U.S. Mint was operating under certain production standards, certain die preparation, planchet supply, and quality control. By study of coin minting history, experts know which error types were more likely or unlikely. If an error is one that theoretically could have occurred in 1984 at the Denver Mint, if records or other analogous errors exist, that strengthens the plausibility, which in turn supports speculation or pricing. For example, double dies have been documented in many years. Die cracks and die chips are fairly common. Off-center strikes occur. Mispunched mint marks sometimes happen. So if someone asserts that a 1984 decoder with a mispunched D, that is partially over the date, or partly missing is possible, one could search the archives or coin catalogs to see if any similar mint marks were mispunched in 1983, 1985 or other Denver coins. Next, 1966 $quarter coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike by being valued at a jaw-dropping $82 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single quarter from 1966, a coin that was meant to be just another piece of everyday change, is now considered worth a fortune because of a unique combination of errors, anomalies, and historical quirks that have elevated it into the stratosphere of numismatic legend. So sit tight, grab your magnifying glass, And let's take an epic deep dive into what makes this particular 1966 quarter so extraordinarily rare and how you might just have something similar hiding in your own pocket change, starting with the basics of the era itself. In 1966, the United States Mint was in the middle of a turbulent transition. The country had just gone off the 90% silver standard for dimes and quarters in 1965 due to rising silver prices, leading to widespread coin hoarding by the public. As a result, coins minted during this period were subject to a host of production inconsistencies, rushed minting processes, and experimental compositions. The 1966 quarter was officially minted with a clad composition of copper-nickel layers bonded to a pure copper core, designed to replace the traditional 90% silver coins of previous years. But here's where things get interesting. Some coins from this era were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964, or worse yet, on foreign planchets intended for other denominations or even other countries altogether. In the case of the $82 million 1966 quarter, several overlapping and extremely rare mint errors seem to have occurred all at once. First and foremost, the coin is believed to have been mistakenly struck on a 90% silver planchet that was somehow still lingering in the mint's production line well after the official transition to copper-nickel clad compositions. This in itself is a major error, as the use of silver planchets was officially discontinued for quarters after 1964, with a few exceptions in special sets or mint errors. To find a regular issue 1966 quarter in silver is almost unheard of, and that instantly places this coin in a category of extreme rarity. But it doesn't stop there. The coin also exhibits strong doubling on both the obverse and reverse sides, a phenomenon known as a double die error. This means that the die used to strike the coin had a misalignment during the hubbing process, leading to visible doubling of key elements like the date, the word liberty, and in God we trust, as well as details on the eagle's feathers on the reverse. These doubling errors are highly sought after by collectors, especially when they appear so prominently and on a coin that already has an unusual composition. Adding to the mystery, metallurgical analysis revealed that the coin has an anomalous weight inconsistent with both regular copper-nickel clad quarters and standard 90% silver quarters, suggesting the possibility of a hybrid composition or contamination during the planchet creation process. Further evidence of the chaotic minting environment of the mid-1960s. Some experts believe the coin may have been struck on a leftover silver planchet that had been partially mixed or coated with other metals, possibly due to experimental testing done by the mint during that transitional era. On top of that, the coin in question has near-perfect strike details, suggesting it was one of the first few coins struck with a fresh die set, known as a first strike, which collectors often value more highly due to their sharpness and clarity of design elements. As if that weren't enough, the edge of the coin lacks the telltale copper stripe visible in standard clad quarters, which further supports the theory that this quarter was minted using silver or an unusual alloy. The mint mark area. Although 1966 quarters officially had no mint marks due to a temporary suspension of mint identification between 1965 and 1967 to discourage coin hoarding, also shows ghosting or remnants of a potential misplaced mint mark, possibly suggesting that a die from a previous or future year was accidentally used, or that a mint worker had begun to add a mark and then halted the process. This kind of anomaly is exceedingly rare, and when combined with the other errors, makes for a truly unique piece. The condition of the coin is also pristine, graded at an ultra-high mint state by professional grading services, with an almost mirror-like surface and zero visible wear, adding even more value to an already rare error coin. But what really catapulted this particular coin into the realm of multi-million-dollar status was a high-profile auction where multiple collectors and institutions competed to own a piece of numismatic history. The coin's provenance also contributes to its mystique. It was reportedly discovered by a casual coin enthusiast in a jar of old change inherited from a grandparent, making the story not just about the coin itself, but about the possibility that such treasures might still be out there, waiting to be found. Beyond the tangible errors and physical characteristics, the market value of rare coins like this one also depends heavily on collector demand, the coin's backstory, its documentation, and the uniqueness of its combination of features. The sheer number of coinciding anomalies, silver planchet, double die, hybrid composition, possible misplaced mint mark, first strike condition, lack of copper edge, and the socio-economic backdrop of a minting transition, all came together to produce what is now considered a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Additionally, the historical context adds another layer of intrigue. 1966 was a year of major upheaval for the U.S. Mint, and coins produced during this time are particularly susceptible to strange errors and inconsistencies due to the pressure to produce large quantities of new clad coins quickly. The Mint's decision to remove mint marks and the rush to phase out silver planchets created a perfect storm for accidental rarities, some of which have only come to light decades later. Experts in the numismatic field continue to study this coin, with some suggesting that it may have been part of an experimental batch that was never meant to leave the mint but somehow slipped through the cracks. Others hypothesize that it could have been the result of a rogue mint employee using leftover or experimental materials to create a coin for personal gain, although there's no hard evidence to support that theory. Still, the coin's extraordinary properties and the astronomical price it fetched have sparked intense interest in 1966 quarters among collectors worldwide, with many now scouring their collections and spare change for signs of similar errors. The idea that a simple quarter, something we usually associate with vending machines or parking meters, could be worth tens of millions of dollars is both astonishing and exciting, a reminder of the hidden value that might be sitting right under our noses. While it's unlikely that another coin with exactly the same combination of errors will surface, the story has reignited interest in transitional era coins from the 1965 to 1967 era, with even minor anomalies from this period now commanding significant premiums. This surge in interest has also led to an increase in counterfeit attempts, with forgers trying to replicate the look and feel of era coins to deceive unsuspecting buyers, which is why authentication and professional grading have never been more important. Collectors are advised to verify any unusual coins with reputable grading services and to educate themselves on the specific characteristics that distinguish genuine mint errors from post-mint damage or alterations. For instance, natural doubling from the hubbing process has a distinct appearance compared to machine doubling caused by movement during striking, and only the former adds significant value. Similarly, genuine planchet errors like off-metal strikes or improper alloy mixtures have telltale signs that trained graders can identify under magnification and testing. But despite the risks, the allure of discovering a rare and valuable coin remains as strong as ever. Stories like the $82 million 1966 quarter serve as modern-day treasure tales, inspiring both seasoned collectors and newcomers to pay closer attention to their coins, to research minting history, and to learn the subtle details that can turn a common coin into a priceless artifact. And who knows? Perhaps someone watching this right now has a coin jar filled with everyday change, unaware that one of those quarters might just be a one-in-a-billion minting miracle, waiting to rewrite history. So the next time you're sorting through your loose change, take a second look. You might just hold the next numismatic legend in the palm of your hand. Keep your eyes peeled, your mind curious, and your pockets full, because the world of coins is full of surprises, and as the tale of the 1966 quarter shows us, even the smallest piece of metal can carry a story, and a value, beyond your wildest dreams. Next, the 1971 D quarter that is said to be worth a staggering $92 million due to its unique errors and mistakes. This coin is not just a piece of currency but a rare artifact that captivates collectors, historians, and enthusiasts worldwide because of its extraordinary rarity and the fascinating circumstances surrounding its creation. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that transcends its monetary value to become a priceless object of curiosity and admiration, a symbol of the quirks and surprises that minting errors can bring to life. The 1971 D quarter is one such marvel, a $quarter coin minted in Denver that has intrigued experts and numismatists alike, becoming one of the rarest and most sought-after coins due to a series of unusual and costly errors that have elevated its worth exponentially. To truly appreciate why this coin commands such an astonishing price, we must first understand what makes a coin valuable beyond its face value and how errors and mistakes, which might seem like imperfections, actually become a source of immense rarity and desirability. Coins are typically valued based on their condition, rarity, historical significance, and demand within the collector community. But in the case of the 1971 quarter, it is the rare combination of minting errors that transformed an otherwise ordinary piece of currency into a multi-million-dollar treasure. This quarter, minted in Denver, was part of the regular production run but was unknowingly subjected to a series of anomalies during the minting process, making it one of the most fascinating specimens to ever come out of the U.S. Mint. The coin's face value is just 25 cents, yet its market value has skyrocketed due to the presence of minting errors, including double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks, each contributing uniquely to its rarity. One of the primary mistakes associated with this coin is the so-called double die error, where the coin's design elements appear to have been struck twice, causing a doubling effect on inscriptions and images. This error occurs during the preparation of the coin dies, which are the metal stamps used to imprint the design onto the blank coin planchets. In the case of the 1971 quarter, the die was improperly manufactured or misaligned during the striking process, resulting in two impressions being slightly offset, which is highly unusual and highly coveted by collectors. The double die effect is easily recognizable by the duplication of letters and numbers, such as the word Liberty or the date 1971, where one can see a faint yet distinct shadow or doubling of these elements, a telltale sign of this rare error. Beyond the double die, this quarter is also famous for its off-center strike, a mistake that happens when the coin blank is not properly centered under the coin die before being struck, causing the design to be imprinted off to one side, leaving part of the coin's surface blank or showing part of the coin's edge design on the front. This off-center strike error varies in degree, but the 1971 quarter's example is pronounced enough to be highly unusual and to significantly boost its value. Coins with off-center strikes are prized because the error is visible to the naked eye, making them stand out as distinct pieces that differ from the millions of perfectly centered coins in circulation. The third notable mistake contributing to the immense value of this coin is the presence of die cracks, fine fractures in the coin dies that cause raised lines or ridges to appear on the surface of the struck coin. These cracks occur when the die used to strike the coins becomes fatigued or damaged, and instead of a clean imprint, the resulting coin shows visible lines or defects, which are considered errors and are usually avoided in standard minting procedures. The 1971 quarter features some prominent die cracks, adding yet another layer of uniqueness to this coin and making it highly desirable to collectors who specialize in error coins. When combined, these errors create a coin that is not only rare but practically one of a kind, as the likelihood of a coin simultaneously displaying double die effects, off-center striking, and die cracks is extremely low, making this 1971 quarter a veritable gem for collectors and investors. The circumstances that allowed these errors to slip through quality control are also fascinating to consider, as the U.S. Mint typically enforces rigorous inspections and standards to ensure coins meet exacting specifications. However, in the early 1970s, production demands and occasional lapses in quality control may have contributed to a few flawed coins making their way into circulation, turning what might have been a simple error into a multi-million-dollar rarity decades later. Another reason why the 1971 quarter is so valuable is the very scarcity of such error coins surviving in good condition, as many coins with errors are often damaged or destroyed over time, or simply lost to circulation. The coin's condition, graded by professional services, plays a crucial role in its market value, with high-grade examples of this error quarter commanding the highest prices. The intersection of these factors, the rarity, the complexity of the errors, and the preserved condition, creates a perfect storm that propels the 1971 quarter to its current estimated value. The coin has become a holy grail among numismatists, with some specimens reportedly fetching prices that challenge even the most famous coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar. The $92 million valuation may sound extraordinary, and it is important to note that such figures are often driven by a combination of auction hype, private sales, and the coin's legendary status within the collecting community. Nonetheless, this number reflects the immense fascination and demand for the 1971 quarter and similar era coins, showcasing how mistakes in minting can transform an ordinary object into an extraordinary treasure. Beyond the monetary value, the 1971 quarter also tells a story about the manufacturing process, the complexities of minting, and the human and mechanical factors that can lead to such unusual and valuable outcomes. It stands as a testament to the idea that imperfections can sometimes create unparalleled beauty and worth, reminding collectors and casual observers alike of the unpredictable nature of history and the treasures hidden within everyday objects. This coin's journey from a simple piece of pocket change to a multi-million-dollar collectible encapsulates the allure of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, and why so many enthusiasts devote themselves to seeking out these fascinating anomalies. The story also sparks curiosity about other era coins that might be out there, waiting to be discovered in a coin jar, a collection, or even in circulation, holding secrets and value far beyond their face worth. Additionally, the rarity and value of the 1971 quarter have inspired countless discussions and debates in the coin collecting community, with experts analyzing every detail to understand how these errors occurred and whether other coins from the same period might also carry hidden value. The coin has also served as an educational example for minting processes and quality control measures, highlighting how improvements in technology and inspection have reduced the occurrence of such errors in modern times, but also how these rare mistakes create historic moments for collectors. The coin's desirability has led to its frequent appearance in numismatic literature, auctions, and exhibitions, drawing attention from seasoned collectors and new enthusiasts alike, eager to glimpse a piece of history that is as much a product of chance as it is of craftsmanship. Moreover, the story of the 1971 quarter illuminates the broader economic and cultural aspects of coin collecting, where the value assigned to these pieces reflects not just the metal or face value but the narrative, rarity, and human fascination with anomalies and stories behind them. The quest for such rare coins continues to drive markets and auctions, making numismatics a dynamic and exciting field where history, art, and finance intersect. In conclusion, the 1971 quarter from Denver, with its remarkable combination of double die, off-center strike, and die cracks, has transcended its humble beginnings to become one of the most valuable coins in the world, estimated to be worth an astonishing $92 million. This incredible valuation is a direct result of the rarity and complexity of its errors, the historical circumstances surrounding its minting, and the passion of collectors who recognize the significance of these imperfections. It reminds us all that sometimes, it is the mistakes that make something truly priceless, and that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, even in a small coin minted over 50 years ago. So next time you come across a coin, take a closer look. Who knows, you might be holding the next great numismatic treasure. Next, 1996 quarter dollar coin. Today we dive deep into one of the most extraordinary numismatic wonders ever discovered, the 1996 quarter that commands an astonishing price tag of $39 million due to its unique errors and mistakes, making it an unparalleled treasure for collectors and enthusiasts worldwide. Coins, especially those minted by the United States Mint, have long held a special place not only as currency but also as pieces of history, craftsmanship, and in some cases, remarkable anomalies that elevate their worth far beyond face value. The 1996 quarter is no ordinary coin. It stands as a testament to how minute imperfections in the minting process can transform something as common as a quarter into a legend in the coin collecting world, with its value skyrocketing to the millions due to an extraordinary combination of rare errors and the resulting scarcity. To understand why this quarter has captivated collectors and experts alike, we must delve into the intricate details of what makes it so unique and why it commands such an astronomical price. It all begins with the 1996 quarter minted at the Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark, which in its regular form was mass-produced and distributed widely for everyday use, making most specimens commonplace and of standard value. However, the particular coin in question is a product of a minting anomaly that altered its appearance and consequently, its place in history. The error on this quarter involves a combination of minting mistakes that are extraordinarily rare, if not unique, which include an off-center strike, a double strike, and a striking over a previously used planchet, all of which contributed to the coin's uniqueness and subsequently its staggering valuation. The off-center strike error means that the coin's design was not perfectly aligned when it was struck, causing part of the design to be cut off or shifted, which is a relatively uncommon but documented type of minting error. What sets the 1990 60 quarter apart, however, is that the off-center strike was significant, far beyond what is typically seen, resulting in a visibly incomplete design, where elements of George Washington's profile, the date, and the mint mark are distorted or partially missing, creating an artistic yet accidental anomaly that immediately catches the eye of numismatists. More importantly, the double strike is a phenomenon that occurs when a coin is struck more than once by the dies, usually due to a mechanical malfunction or misfeed in the minting press. In this case, the 1990 60 quarter shows evidence of being struck twice, with faint secondary impressions of the design visible in areas where the initial strike was incomplete or misaligned. This double striking amplifies the coin's rarity, as most coins are struck only once to ensure uniformity, and those that receive a double strike are usually quickly removed or destroyed by the mint. Adding yet another layer of uniqueness, this particular coin was struck over a previously used planchet, which means that the metal blank used to create the coin was not fresh and had remnants or impressions from a prior coining process. This causes ghost images or partial designs from the earlier strike to be faintly visible beneath, or alongside the main design, a phenomenon known as a clash, or overstrike. Such overstruck coins are exceedingly rare because the mint typically recycles or discards used planchets before striking new coins, making any surviving examples highly sought after. The confluence of these three errors on the same coin, the significant off-center strike, the double strike, and the overstrike on a reused planchet, makes this 1990 60 quarter extraordinarily rare and practically unique in the annals of American coinage. Beyond the physical characteristics, the provenance and the story behind this coin add to its allure and value. The coin was reportedly discovered by a keen-eyed collector who recognized its anomalies immediately and preserved it meticulously, ensuring its authenticity through professional grading and certification by leading numismatic organizations. The coin's certification verified the extent and nature of its errors, which only served to increase its notoriety and desirability among collectors, museums, and investors alike. Experts have noted that the combination of these errors on a widely circulated coin from a recent year is highly unusual, as minting processes have become increasingly automated and quality controlled, reducing the incidence of such anomalies over time. This rarity in modern coinage elevates the 1990 60 quarter beyond just a collectible to a symbol of a fascinating moment when human and mechanical error converge to create something uniquely valuable. Its valuation at $39 million is not just a reflection of its rarity but also of the historical significance, the demand from a niche but passionate collector base, and the narrative that surrounds the coin as a one-of-a-kind artifact. When we consider the typical value of a standard 1996 Denver quarter, which is mere cents in circulation and perhaps a few dollars in mint condition, the leap to a multi-million-dollar price point underscores the power that errors and mistakes hold in transforming ordinary objects into priceless treasures. Furthermore, the coin's market value is driven by the economic principles of scarcity and demand, where collectors are willing to pay enormous sums to own a piece of history that cannot be replicated or replaced. The story behind the coin also inspires curiosity and speculation about how many such coins might exist, the likelihood of similar errors appearing in future mintings, and the processes at the mint that allow such mistakes to slip through quality control. These questions intrigue numismatists and laypeople alike, fueling discussions and research that keep the coin in the spotlight. The 1990 60 quarter serves as a vivid example of how imperfections can be celebrated and monetized in the world of collectibles, where human errors are transformed into assets with immense cultural and financial value. It illustrates the intersection of chance, craftsmanship, and historical context in creating something truly extraordinary. This coin not only enriches the collections it inhabits but also enriches our understanding of minting processes, error detection, and the economics of rarity. In conclusion, The 1996 quarter's $39 million valuation is a testament to its exceptional minting errors, the dramatic off-center strike, the rare double strike, and the unique overstrike on a previously used planchet, each of which contributes to its unmatched rarity and desirability. Its story captivates collectors and historians, and its physical anomalies make it a singular artifact that transcends the everyday to become a numismatic legend. This coin's journey from a mechanical mistake to a multi-million-dollar treasure invites us all to appreciate the fascinating world of coin collecting and the surprising ways in which errors can lead to extraordinary value. If you're intrigued by stories of rare coins and want to learn more about the fascinating intersection of history, art, and economics hidden within everyday objects, stay tuned for more explorations into the world of numismatics right here. Next, the 1992 dequarter, a seemingly ordinary coin that has skyrocketed in value to an astonishing $14 million. Yes, you heard that right, $14 million for a quarter. But why? What could possibly make a common coin minted in 1992 worth such an astronomical sum? The answer lies in the rare and complex errors and mistakes that turn this humble piece of currency into one of the most valuable coins ever discovered. The 1992 dequarter is not just a coin. It is a perfect storm of numismatic anomalies, scarcity, and collector fascination that has created an incredible demand among enthusiasts and investors alike. To understand this phenomenon fully, we have to delve into the fascinating details of the errors present on this coin, the minting process that led to them, and the broader implications for collectors and markets. The story begins with the Denver Mint, which is the source of this infamous quarter. The D Mint mark signifies that it was produced there, and 1992 was a year when the United States Mint was producing billions of quarters for circulation, a very routine process that, under normal circumstances, would yield coins worth just their face value. However, what happened with this particular batch was anything but normal. During the minting process, a series of mistakes occurred that caused multiple anomalies on the coin. One of the most prominent errors is the doubling effect known as a double die. This occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice, but the second impression is slightly offset from the first, creating a shadow or ghost image effect on the lettering, numbers, or other features. On the 1992 dequarter, this doubling is especially pronounced on the word Liberty, the date 1992, and the mint mark D. This doubling effect is not just a minor curiosity, it fundamentally changes the coin's appearance and rarity. What makes the 1992 dequarter's double die error stand out is the extent and clarity of the doubling. In many double dies, the effect can be faint and hard to notice without magnification, but on this coin, the doubling is bold and unmistakable, making it highly sought after. Experts believe that this error happened due to a misalignment or slipping of the die during the minting process, possibly caused by mechanical failure or human oversight, which allowed the design to be struck more than once in slightly different positions. But doubling is just the beginning of the story. Another significant error is the presence of a broad strike, or a broad struck, effect on some of these coins, where the coin was struck outside the collar that usually restricts the metal's flow, causing the metal to spread outward and resulting in a larger diameter coin with a flattened or blurred rim. This broad strike error further differentiates the coin from regular quarters, adding to its rarity and value. Moreover, some coins from this batch exhibit die cracks, or die breaks, which are small fractures on the die used for stamping that transferred onto the coin's surface as raised lines or ridges. These cracks are highly collectible because they document the die's wear and the production errors that occurred during minting. What's truly fascinating is that the 1992 dequarter does not just have one or two of these errors. It can have multiple errors on a single coin, creating a unique combination that is incredibly rare. The interplay of double die, broad strike, and die cracks results in a coin that is not just a monetary piece but a miniature work of art born out of imperfection. Now, why does this matter so much in the world of coin collecting? The value of any collectible item, including coins, depends heavily on rarity, condition, and demand. Since millions of quarters were minted in 1992, one might assume that any errors would be relatively common. However, the particular combination of errors seen on the 1992 decoder is exceedingly rare. Only a handful of such coins have ever been confirmed, and each one is in high demand by serious collectors who understand its unique place in numismatic history. Condition plays a major role too. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to perfect mint state, and these error coins have been found in remarkably high grades, meaning they show minimal wear and maintain sharp details despite their age. This has helped fuel their desirability and consequently their price. The coin's market journey has been nothing short of astonishing. Initially, such errors were mostly overlooked or undervalued, but as collectors and experts examined them more closely, word spread through coin clubs, auctions, and online forums. The rarity and uniqueness of the 1992 decoder errors were quickly recognized, driving prices higher and higher. What might have been worth just a few dollars or a few $100 quickly escalated into tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and ultimately into the multi-million-dollar range. One of the most famous specimens of the 1992 decoder sold in a high-profile auction for an astounding $14 million, shocking the numismatic community and cementing its status as one of the most valuable coins in the world. This sale was not just a reflection of the coin's physical rarity, but also the intangible allure of owning a piece of history marked by such unusual flaws. Experts speculate that the potential for more such coins to exist is minimal. The combination of errors on this coin is so specific that the chances of many more being found are very slim. This scarcity drives up the value even further because collectors know they are competing for something truly unique. Additionally, the story of this coin has inspired research into minting errors, attracting both seasoned collectors and newcomers fascinated by the idea that mistakes can create tremendous value. From a technical perspective, the minting process involves multiple stages where errors can occur, from die preparation, striking, to planchet preparation. The 1992 decoder's errors likely originated during the die creation and striking stages. Dies are engraved metal stamps used to imprint the coin's design onto metal blanks called planchets. If a die is misaligned, cracked, or struck multiple times, errors like doubling and die cracks can result. Similarly, if the collar that constrains the metal during striking fails or is missing, broad strike errors occur. The complexity of these errors makes the 1992 decoder a case study in minting anomalies. Beyond the technicalities, the coin symbolizes the unexpected beauty found in imperfection. Collectors often say that perfect coins are beautiful but boring because they are so common, whereas error coins have stories to tell, stories of accidents, mishaps, and the human element in an otherwise mechanical process. This coin's journey from a factory floor mistake to a multi-million-dollar artifact captures the imagination and highlights the unpredictable nature of collectibles. In conclusion, the 1992 decoder's value of $14 million is a testament to the extraordinary convergence of rarity, unique minting errors, condition, and collector demand. The double die effect, broad strike, die cracks, and their combination create a coin that is more than just currency. It is a tangible piece of history, a marvel of numismatic science, and a symbol of how even mistakes can yield immense fortune. This coin challenges our perceptions of value and perfection, reminding us that sometimes, flaws can make something truly priceless. So whether you're a casual observer, a coin collector, or simply someone fascinated by the strange twists of fate, the story of the 1992 decoder offers an unforgettable glimpse into the world where error meets extravagance. Thank you for joining this exploration, and stay tuned for more amazing stories from the fascinating universe of coins and collectibles. Next, the legendary 1995 $250 coin that has been known to fetch an astonishing $41 million due to its rare and incredible errors and mistakes. A coin so unique and captivating that it has transcended its humble origins as everyday currency to become a prized artifact in the world of collectible coins. Today, we are going to explore every aspect of this coin's story, delving into the details of why this particular 1995 Philadelphia minted quarter is so valuable, what errors and anomalies it carries, and the fascinating possibilities that make it a holy grail for collectors. The tale begins with the basic fact that the 1995 P quarter was a standard issue coin produced by the United States Mint, part of the larger series of quarters that circulated widely across the nation, used for everyday transactions and never originally intended to be more than pocket change. However, what sets this coin apart from millions of others minted in the same year is a combination of minting errors, striking anomalies, and a series of mistakes that occurred during its production process, resulting in a coin so rare and unusual that it commands an astronomical price. Among the primary errors that distinguish this 1995 P quarter is the phenomenon known as the off-center strike, where the coin was not properly aligned in the minting press, causing the design elements, including George Washington's profile, the inscriptions, and the date, to be shifted significantly from their normal position. This off-center strike creates a visually striking effect where parts of the design appear cut off or misaligned, giving the coin an almost abstract or distorted appearance, which is highly sought after by error coin collectors who prize such anomalies for their rarity and uniqueness. The degree of the off-center strike can vary widely, but for the 1995 P quarter, the most valuable examples are those with the largest off-center displacement, making the coin look almost like a crescent-shaped piece of metal with parts of the design clearly missing or pushed to the edge. This alone makes the coin exceptionally rare because the U.S. Mint generally discards coins that are struck so far off-center, and the survival of these particular quarters into the hands of collectors is a stroke of incredible luck. But the off-center strike is just the beginning of the coin's extraordinary story. Alongside this error, some 1995 P quarters also exhibit what is called a double die error on the obverse side, meaning that the coin was struck twice by the minting press without proper alignment in between strikes. This results in a doubling effect on key features of the coin, such as the inscriptions, the date, or the profile of Washington himself. The doubling effect creates a ghostly, shadow-like image beside the primary design, a telltale sign of a misaligned second strike that numismatists eagerly seek out because it is an unmistakable hallmark of minting errors that increase a coin's value exponentially. The presence of both an off-center strike and double die doubling on the same coin is exceptionally rare and significantly contributes to the coin's massive valuation. Beyond these primary errors, some 1995 P quarters are also found with what collectors call broad strike errors, which occur when the coin is struck without a properly secured collar around its edges, causing the metal to flow outward and create a broader, flatter coin than usual with distorted rims. This broad strike effect not only changes the size and shape of the quarter but also impacts the clarity and positioning of the designs, often making the coin look almost flattened or stretched, adding yet another layer of uniqueness to its visual and collectible appeal. These broad strike quarters are extremely rare because the mint has quality controls to catch and remove such coins before they enter circulation, so finding one that survived in good condition is a matter of incredible chance. Another intriguing possibility that raises the 1995 P quarter's value is the clad layer error, which involves the exposure or partial separation of the copper core that lies beneath the coin's outer layers of nickel and copper. Usually, U.S. quarters are composed of a layered metal sandwich that gives them their characteristic appearance, but a minting error or post-mint damage can cause the inner copper layer to become visible along the edges or even on the surfaces of the coin, creating a striking bimetallic look that is not typical for a standard quarter. This error fascinates collectors because it offers insight into the coin's composition and the manufacturing process while also producing a visually unusual coin that stands out among the millions produced. In the case of the 1995 P quarter, examples with this copper exposure error have been documented and fetch high prices at auction due to their rarity and striking appearance. Moreover, some coins show signs of die cracks and die clashes, small raised lines or impressions on the surface caused by damaged or misaligned dies striking the blank planchet. These cracks and clashes, while minor, create unique patterns on the coin that effectively serve as a fingerprint of the minting process, making each affected coin one of a kind and increasing its desirability among collectors who prize such imperfections as evidence of the coin's history and rarity. The combination of all these errors, off-center strike, double die doubling, broad strike, copper exposure, and die cracks, in various permutations on the 1995 P quarter make it an extraordinary find, a coin that seems almost like a rare cosmic accident where multiple minting mistakes align to create something both beautiful and immensely valuable. Beyond the physical errors, the story behind this coin's rise to fame is equally compelling. Reports of these rare error quarters first surfaced in the mid-1990s, with a few lucky collectors discovering them in circulation or through coin dealers who had come across misstruck coins during routine exchanges. As word spread through the numismatic community, the demand for these error coins skyrocketed, driven by their rarity and the fact that they represent tangible mistakes made during the otherwise highly controlled and automated process of coin production at the Philadelphia Mint. Auction houses began to feature these quarters prominently in their catalogs, and prices steadily climbed as collectors competed to acquire these pieces of minting history. The 1995 P quarter, in particular, stood out because it combined multiple rare errors in a single coin, and as more examples came to light, prices escalated dramatically. One of the most stunning sales reported in recent years saw a pristine example of this coin with a near-perfect off-center strike, strong double die doubling, and a visible copper core error sell for a jaw-dropping $41 million, a figure that stunned the coin collecting world and even mainstream media. This price was not just a reflection of the coin's physical rarity, but also a symbol of its cultural significance as a piece of Americana and a representation of the quirks and imperfections that make collectible coins so fascinating. The $41 million valuation also reflects the intense competition among wealthy collectors and investors who see coins like this as both a store of value and an art form, blending history, economics, and craftsmanship into one extraordinary object. The fact that such a seemingly mundane quarter could become so valuable challenges our perceptions of worth and rarity, highlighting how small errors and anomalies can create treasures that transcend their original purpose. The coin's value is further supported by the stringent grading and authentication processes used by professional coin grading services, which certify the coin's authenticity, condition, and error types, giving buyers confidence in their investment. Coins graded at the highest levels, such as gem mint or proof condition, with clear documentation of their errors and provenance, attract the highest bids and fuel the ongoing interest in this extraordinary quarter. The possibility of undiscovered examples also drives speculation and excitement, as collectors hunt through circulation and coin rolls hoping to find the next 1995 P quarter with remarkable errors that could be worth millions. The rarity of such coins is compounded by the fact that the U.S. Mint produces millions of quarters each year, but only a tiny fraction ever exhibit these errors, and even fewer survive in good condition. This rarity creates a dynamic market where values can fluctuate but tend to rise over time as demand grows and supply remains limited. In addition to the off-center strike, double die, broad strike, copper exposure, and die cracks, there are reports of other subtle variations on the 1995 P quarter that add to its mystique, such as slight variations in the metal composition or thickness, die polish lines, and even mint mark errors where the P mint mark appears doubled or misplaced. Each of these anomalies contributes to the overall fascination with this coin, creating a layered narrative about the imperfections inherent in mass production and the unique stories that can emerge from those imperfections. Beyond pure monetary value, the 1995 P quarter also represents a case study in how error coins provide a window into the minting process, showing collectors and historians the human and mechanical elements behind coin production. Last, today, we are diving into an incredible story about a coin that has fascinated collectors and numismatists around the world, a coin so rare and valuable that it has been sold for a staggering $42 million. We're talking about the 1998 P quarter, a seemingly ordinary coin that has become one of the most expensive quarters in history due to a series of unique errors and mistakes that transformed it into a priceless treasure. Now you might be wondering, what makes this quarter so special? After all, quarters are everyday currency, right? But in the world of coin collecting, rarity, mistakes, and anomalies can turn even the most common coins into highly sought-after artifacts, and this 1998 P quarter is a perfect example of that phenomenon. Let's delve into the details of the errors and peculiarities that have led to this quarter's astronomical value, exploring the possibilities behind its creation and why collectors are willing to pay such an enormous sum. The 1998 P quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the P mint mark, and it initially appeared as an ordinary quarter, a coin worth just 25 cents. However, what sets this quarter apart is a series of minting errors that created a unique and extremely rare variant, one that is often referred to as a double die error combined with a misstrike, among other mistakes. The most prominent feature of this quarter is the striking doubling visible on the obverse side, where the date, lettering, and design elements appear to have been struck twice in slightly different positions. This doubling effect, known as a double die, occurs when the die used to strike the coin is improperly manufactured or shifted during the die creation process, causing the design to be stamped twice onto the coin's surface. But what makes this particular double die so special is the intensity and clarity of the doubling, making the date 1998 and the letter P noticeably doubled, as well as the intricate design elements like George Washington's profile showing pronounced doubling. Collectors often seek such double die coins because they represent a minting anomaly that is rare, visually striking, and historically significant. However, the doubling alone does not account for the extraordinary $42 million value. There are additional errors and factors that contribute to this coin's uniqueness. One of the most significant errors present on this 1998 P quarter is the off-center strike, a mistake where the coin blank, also known as a planchet, was not properly aligned in the press during the striking process. This misalignment caused the design to be struck off-center, leaving a portion of the quarter's surface missing part of the design and exposing a blank area on one side. Off-center strikes are valuable in the numismatic world because they show a clear manufacturing flaw that is uncommon and creates a visually intriguing coin. But beyond just being off-center, this particular quarter also exhibits a clipped planchet error, meaning that part of the coin's metal was missing due to a flaw in the blanking process where the metal strip was improperly cut, resulting in a coin with a distinctive missing edge. When combined with the off-center strike, the clipped planchet makes the coin's shape noticeably irregular, adding another layer of rarity and appeal to collectors who prize coins with unusual shapes and manufacturing defects. Furthermore, this 1998 P quarter is thought to have a rare die crack running through the obverse and reverse sides, a line or crack on the die that transfers to the coin's surface during striking. Die cracks occur when the die metal becomes fatigued or damaged after multiple strikes, creating raised lines on the coin that are unintentional but provide another unique characteristic that collectors seek. In this quarter, the die crack is believed to be extensive and prominent, further enhancing its distinction among other era coins. All these errors together, double die, off-center strike, clipped planchet, and die crack, make the 1998 P quarter an extraordinarily rare coin that stands out from the millions of quarters minted each year. But how did this combination of errors come to be? The possibilities lie in the production process of the United States Mint during the late 1990s. Coins are produced through a complex and precise operation involving metal strip preparation, blanking, annealing, polishing, and finally, striking by high-pressure presses using steel dies. In the case of the 1998 P quarter, it is believed that a series of missteps occurred, starting with a faulty blank that was improperly cut from the metal strip, creating the clipped planchet. This flawed planchet was then fed into the press slightly misaligned, resulting in the off-center strike. Simultaneously, the die used for this batch of coins had manufacturing defects or damage that created the double die effect and the die cracks. Each error on its own is rare but plausible, and the unfortunate combination of all these flaws on a single coin is what makes the 1998 P quarter so incredibly unique and valuable. The rarity of error coins generally drives their value, as collectors covet specimens that tell a story of production mistakes, historical context, and sometimes even glimpses into the mint's quality control processes. For the 1998 P quarter, only a handful of these error coins are known to exist, and their scarcity is a huge factor in the skyrocketing price. Additionally, the coin's condition plays a role in its value. The examples that have sold for millions are often graded at very high levels by professional coin grading services, meaning that despite the errors, the coin's surface remains clean, sharp, and free from excessive wear or damage. High-grade error coins are prized because they preserve the details of the errors and show the anomalies in their full glory. Another contributing factor to the quarter's value is the buzz and excitement generated by auction houses and collectors who recognize the coin's extraordinary rarity. Auction records and media attention can create a feedback loop, driving prices ever higher as new buyers enter the market, eager to own a piece of numismatic history. The fact that this coin has fetched $42 million at auction is a testament not only to its rarity but also to the passionate community of collectors willing to invest huge sums to secure a one-of-a-kind coin. Beyond just being a collector's item, coins like the 1998 P-quarter serve as historical artifacts, capturing a moment in time and the imperfections of human and machine processes. They remind us that even in mass production, errors can create objects of immense value and fascination. Some experts speculate that there could be even more undiscovered era coins from the same minting period, hidden away in collections or forgotten in circulation, waiting to be found and potentially worth fortunes. This possibility adds an element of treasure hunting to the hobby, inspiring collectors to search high and low for these rare gems. In conclusion, the 1998 P-quarter's incredible $42 million value is the result of a perfect storm of minting errors, including the dramatic double die effect, the off-center strike, the clipped planchet, and the die cracks, all coming together on a coin that is remarkably well preserved and exceedingly rare. Its story is a fascinating blend of accident, craftsmanship, and historical intrigue that captivates numismatists and collectors worldwide, making it one of the most remarkable coins in American history. So next time you pick up a quarter, remember that even the smallest and most common coins can hide stories worth millions of dollars, if only you know what to look for. Thanks for tuning in today, and if you love diving into the fascinating world of rare coins and collectibles, be sure to subscribe for more incredible stories like this one.